The Wall Street Journal reporting some Trump administration officials are holding up efforts to finalize a landmark agreement with the UAE for billions of dollars worth of NVIDIA's chips. The Journal says the move is due to national security concerns. NVIDIA shares up about 0.75%.
Trump, you know, this is pretty close to an all-time high. Right at it right now, that's NVIDIA. You actually posted this week that you're actually giving your followers permission to sell a little bit of NVIDIA. What's the rationale there? We found out earlier this week they can sell those H20 chips in China now. A lot of people think that's unlocking a whole new chapter of revenue, if you will, and the fact that we also essentially find out that China really needs our U.S. tech, specifically our hardware. Why sell here, especially ahead of earnings?
Okay, I'm not selling. I'm giving people permission. Let me give you the context. On the China front, let's just do this quickly. Bernstein reiterated NVIDIA $185 target. And what they said was that for every $10 billion in recovered revenue in China, meaning business we didn't think they could do up until a few days ago, that could add 25 cents to NVIDIA's earnings per share. So they say that could be like 40, 50 cents in 2026 if they capture back 15 to 20 billion worth of China revenue. Great news. Happy to hear that as along. Be that as it may, put that aside. We'll assume Bernstein has it roughly right. The big picture is, for the last 11 years, I've become the person that's been the most associated with NVIDIA, mostly for better, although there have been times where the stock's been in a 50, even a 70% drawdown in years like 2022. There was the crypto crash in 2017 when they thought all these chips were good for was mining. So I've had the ups and downs, but mostly ups. People walk up to the street. People walk up to me on the street. They come up to me at stores, airports, you name it. The question that I'm getting the most over the last month or so is not, do you still like NVIDIA? It's, should I sell some NVIDIA? And I totally get it. Look at what the stock has just done. It's really remarkable, and now it's a $4 trillion market cap. So just for fun, if you think this is a $5 trillion market cap, you basically need the stock to get to $201 a share, assuming constant share count, not a lot of issuance, and they're not going to take action on the buyback. If you think it gets to 10 trillion, that's a $403 stock. So, like, do you think it's going to go to 10 trillion? Could it? Maybe, I guess. Like, so I'm just looking at it from a risk-reward standpoint. I'm not a seller, but if you are so nervous about your position that you're hawking me in the bagel store, the answer I'm now giving you, I used to say no, or I would say I don't know, LOL. The new answer is, yeah, sell some. I get it. It's a $4 trillion market cap. How bullish do you need to be to think it goes to 10 trillion? You have to be insanely bullish. So if it's making you nervous, you have my permission. Sell 10%. Sell I don't care. You know.
A few points. So you're not selling, but you're saying if this is a place to take profits, it's okay in your mind.
I've sold on the way up on 2 occasions.
Okay.
I'm not selling anymore. So
also,
whatever my position is now, this is what it is.
I think you and Kramer might have to fight it out over the title of most associated with NVIDIA. I mean,
you have a dog named NVIDIA?
That's a different topic. I feel like we're spinning. Josh does not have a dog named NVIDIA. I'm going to answer for
Family,
him.
I came on this show in 2015 and I said NVIDIA should be in the FANG. And that's when Netflix was the N. So we could roll the tape. Like, that's 11 years ago.
We don't have that tape. By the way, that's actually tape. Somebody probably has to go in a basement. It's not digitized.
All right.
Check out Taiwan Semi shares up 4%. Session highs after raising their 2025 revenue forecast. The signal big tech is still pouring money into chips and data centers. Deirdre Bosa breaks down why. And Deirdre, yesterday, okay, riddle me this. ASML makes the tools that make advanced semiconductors that TSMC fabricates, or what do you call it? They have problems. The stocks are down. Maybe it's tariffs, maybe it's not. Then today, TSMC, everything is fine. How can both of these things be true at the same time?
Right. This is what I said yesterday, right? There's conflicting signals. So we wanted to go a layer deeper today and look at some of the other signals, valuations. I'm going to tell you exactly why we sort of arrive at this. So when you combine TSMC's outlook this week from other ones, forget ASML for a moment. Let's look at NVIDIA, Meta, Google in the public markets, Anthropic, other startups in the private markets. It all suggests that a new AI baseline exists, not a bubble. Even if the numbers look stretched at first glance, even if you have the ASMLs giving you different signals. Underneath the headlines, there's real revenue traction. NVIDIA is still adding earnings power with China back in play. Meta, Google, Microsoft and Google are seeing explosive token growth, and that is a clear sign of surging demand. And Meta, not to mention, spending hundreds of billions on capacity. On the private side, you've got darlings like Anthropic that are reportedly flirting with a $100 billion valuation. Also seeing surging revenue, and that's helping to justify the run in the private market. Kelly, I also want to show you this chart from Bespoke. I've had it in my back pocket for weeks now. It tracks the Nasdaq's performance the first 645 days after Netscape's IPO in 1994, and then compares it to the post-ChatGPT run. Now, the takeaway is that this rally is actually behind where the dot-com boom was at the same point, even though the fundamentals today are stronger, driven by infrastructure spend and models. At its peak during the dot-com bubble as well, poster-child Cisco had a PE valuation of about 200. NVIDIA's current one is around 56. Then you look at the S&P's valuation, it's also well below dot-com bubble levels. But of course, Kelly, that does not mean that there aren't risks. We did talk about ASML yesterday. What are they seeing that we might not? This trade also depends on massive sustained spend. That's not guaranteed. Investors could get impatient for ROI. We've seen that before. Tariffs could escalate. China could release another DeepSeek moment. So even if AI is not in a bubble, it is exposed and it's built on assumptions that could shift fast. But when you look at the past week, the past few weeks, and those valuations, there's room to run.
I did not like Torsten Slok's chart the other day. You probably saw it, where he said, comparing the AI, what he called bubble, to the dot-com bubble. This one implicates the S&P 500 and the biggest companies in it. You know, so you want to think, well, it better not be a bubble. Whatever it is, just better not be a bubble.
Right. And I think that when you look at purely the valuations, you look at some of the biggest companies in the space, like in NVIDIA, that just has so many demand levers right now, you can come to the conclusion that there could be more, especially when you look at it from that point of view. But also, Kelly, you know, I track the private markets very closely. That's always been very frothy. But even now, the age of AI, ARR revenue, it's growing so much faster than we've ever seen.
All right. That's better news for now. Thanks.
All right, I hope you're all doing great today. NVIDIA finished the day nearly 1% higher after reaching a new all-time high in today's trading session. TSMC reported great earnings overnight with a strong beat and raise. Remember that TSMC manufactures NVIDIA's chips. TSMC reported 38.6% revenue growth year over year and solid next quarter guidance while raising their 2025 outlook. TSMC said AI demand is getting stronger and stronger, and they are working very hard to narrow the gap between demand and supply. That is good news for NVIDIA. As for the H20, TSMC said they have not yet received the signal from NVIDIA to ramp production back up. But they said it is good news that the H20 will be allowed to be sold in China, as it is such a large market. We know NVIDIA likely already has billions of dollars worth of H20 inventory ready to be sold, given that they took a $4.5 billion write-down when export control was announced. This should provide some China revenue, even if it takes some time to ramp up H20 production. I do think NVIDIA will eventually release a new chip in the Chinese market, but since they already know that the H20 will be approved, it probably makes sense to ramp H20 production back up for some time, rather than trying to introduce a new chip, because we don't know if the US will approve of a new chip or not. But we will see what happens on that front. Another piece of NVIDIA news broke last night when a Wall Street Journal reported that some officials of the administration are holding up the finalization of a UAE chip deal, wherein NVIDIA would supply the country with billions of dollars of AI hardware. The Wall Street Journal claims that the issue of disagreement has to do with chip shipments to G42, which was supposed to receive about 20% of the chips in the UAE deal. Regardless of what the specific details of the deal turn out to be, both the U.S. Commerce Secretary and the UAE Ambassador believe the deal will proceed. And so this isn't anything to be concerned about, in my opinion. Also today, NVIDIA announced that the UK's Isambard-AI supercomputer has gone live equipped with NVIDIA's H200. It's the fastest supercomputer in the UK and among the most energy efficient in the world. As a reminder, Jensen told us at GTC Paris that there are 20 sovereign AI factories being planned in Europe, along with many more being planned by European companies and other organizations. The supercomputer that went live today is at the University of Bristol, which Jensen highlighted in his keynote back in June. Jensen believes Europe's computing capacity will 10x in in just 2 years. I continue to be bullish on the long-term future of NVIDIA. I'm sure that many of you remember last year, I said repeatedly that I would not be surprised to see NVIDIA's business double within 2 years. Of course, I don't know what multiple the market will apply to the stock during that time, but if the business grows, the stock is likely to follow. Anyway, I thought NVIDIA would double within 2 years. I said that back before there was any restriction on NVIDIA's H20 sales to China. And China represented about 13% of NVIDIA's revenue before the restriction. After the restriction was announced, I thought it would likely be reversed at some point, but I didn't know when. And so, as the months went by, I became hesitant to talk about NVIDIA's business doubling within 2 years, as I originally said back in 2024, because I needed more clarity on the export situation before continuing to make a call like that. But now that NVIDIA can once again sell into China, and after seeing how resilient NVIDIA has been even without having access to the China market, I honestly think that a doubling of NVIDIA's business within 2 years is likely from when I originally made that call back in 2024. Keep in mind that I don't know what the future holds, and I could be wrong, but that is my honest opinion. I seriously think NVIDIA still has runway ahead of it. I also really like the setup for the second half of this year, and I think NVIDIA is likely to have a really strong third and fourth quarters. The first Blackwell Ultra system has launched, and production should really start ramping up in August and September. NVIDIA maintains their competitive moat across the entire stack, both hardware and software, and their software offerings in CUDA are such a massive advantage in maintaining their moat. We have a clear data center product roadmap that extends through 2028 with a new product release each year. NVIDIA continues to deliver performance upgrades that are so significant that their customers continue purchasing NVIDIA's latest products in large quantities. These performance upgrades directly increase the revenues of NVIDIA's customers. And Jensen believes that the world's computing capex will reach $1 trillion annually by 2030. And that's not to mention NVIDIA's future in quantum, massive sovereign AI deals, and NVIDIA bringing AI to the world's enterprise IT, which Jensen believes is an opportunity worth hundreds of billions of dollars. While I don't know what will happen in the short term, I continue to be bullish on the long-term future of NVIDIA, and I genuinely think this company's brightest days are ahead. At least that's my view of the situation. Remember to stay calm in this market. Remember to maintain a long-term perspective, and do not make any hasty or irrational decisions. With all of that being said, I hope you all have a great rest of the day, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts about NVIDIA in the comments below. Please leave a like on this video so more people will see it. And while you're down there, please consider subscribing. It's free, and you can always change your mind. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.